And we are back for a second time for this episode of A Football's Destiny presented by Fortune Sports, continuing our 2023 NFL offseason script with the NFC West. I am one of your hosts, Damon. To my right is joined with me, as always, Johnny, and to my left is joined Hunter. Whoop, 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 whoop.
We got this. Stream is not going down.
Oof.
NFC West is here.
Why would you put that out in the air?
Episode 6.
Episode 6.
Episode 6.
Holy shit. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for episode 6.
Please do.
Damon's hat, too.
Yeah.
Gotta love
It's
Damon's
the thing
hat.
that sits on my head, if you didn't know.
I didn't know that. I don't get it.
That's my life.
All right. But NFC West, well, before we get into that, we're going to talk some NFL news that happened.
Rip through this real quick.
Yeah, it makes it quick and easy.
2 news coming out of New Orleans. Saints defensive end Cam Jordan signed a 2-year, $27.5 million deal. Definitely worth the money. We always talk about age being a factor in football. He's obviously getting older, but still been very solid for the Saints defense. Also, Saints running back Alvin Kamara was suspended for 3 games for the incident that happened during the 2020 Pro Bowl in Vegas. Obviously, almost a year and a half removed from that event, and he's now getting that. Not too harsh of a punishment. I think he definitely could have ended up getting more, but 3
Definitely could have. Possibly should have. I thought we were going to be talking about this last year where
Same.
he was going to miss either half the season. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously that'll affect fantasy a little bit this season.
Oh, yeah. Jamal Williams stock going up.
Yeah, but I don't see Alvin Kamara's stock going down very much.
No, because I would still get him in a decent amount around just to have him.
Next in news, Justin Houston signed a 1-year deal with the Panthers. Talk about a guy that's getting old. 34, I think, now. So, again, one of those guys going to come back 1 year at a time until his body tells him not to. Want to take the next one?
Broncos wide receiver Tim Patrick out for season with a torn Achilles. That is unfortunate. That wide receiver room in Denver has been injury-ridden the past couple of years. Going along with injuries, running back Kenneth Walker and rookie Zach
Charbonnet.
Charbonnet. I was going to say Charbonnet. Charbonnet, both injured in practice. That is tough for Kenneth Walker. Obviously, he was in the Rookie of the Year running last year before he went down with an injury, and now he has a completely different injury. Third string DJ Dallas is looking like the first man up in that running back room now for the Seahawks. Quarterback Jeff Okudah carted off at Falcons practice, anticipating him to be back first few weeks of the season.
That's tough because the Falcons went out and traded for him this year, and that's former 3rd overall pick Jeff Okudah that the Lions kind of messed up on picking, personally.
They thought that the injury was going to be more serious than it was, and they were anticipating him actually being out for the entire year. So,
yeah, I mean, if
obviously, really good news.
Carted off a field like that, shit.
All right, I'll do the last 2.
I suppose. Running back.
Running back Ezekiel Elliott is getting 3 teams' interest, including the Dallas Cowboys, who released him earlier on in the season, the New York Jets as a possibility as well, even though I think they'd probably rather go with Dalvin Cook, and the New England Patriots. So keep a lookout on that. Even if the Cowboys re-sign him, I still expect Tony Pollard to be the guy, and Zeke just coming in to relieve it. Thunder and lightning, as they like to call it. But the lightning comes first now instead of the thunder.
I think that
isn't that usually how it works, though?
I think Ezekiel Elliott's more like the dust storm, but
all right. Well, hey, is it because he's old as dirt?
Sure,
washed up.
He's actually not that old.
Yeah, for running back standards, he's old as dirt. But you're laughing threw me off. Anyways, also the Bears signed Yannick Ngakoue and Mercedes Lewis, so they still had the most cap room out of every team, even after they went in on a little bit of a shopping spree with their linebackers this season and getting DJ Morris obviously taking on his contract. So they're like, might as well sign some more people. And Yannick Ngakoue was out there. I think he'll be a big addition for them coming off the edge. And then obviously Mercedes Lewis is just kind of like a locker room guy nowadays because he's old as dirt, actually. And then last but certainly not least, the Colts signed running back Kenyon Drake because obviously with the Jonathan Taylor situation, nobody really knows what's going to happen with that. So, gotta see what happens, I guess. But hopefully, by the time we talk about the AFC South, some more development will be there. All right, I think that's it for news. So why don't we just jump into the NFC West, which is our me and Damon's least favorite team in the NFC.
What up, Sukup?
49ers.
Your least favorite team in the NFC is the Eagles.
Well, okay, second least favorite.
His least favorite.
His least favorite. My second least favorite.
The San Francisco 49ers. Last year, they had a record of 13-4. Honestly, really impressive, obviously, with Jimmy Garoppolo going down and Brock Purdy leading them to the playoffs. Unfortunate injury for him. He's recovering well. Vegas has them at 10.5 wins this season, which I think is a little disrespectful to them. But they had some key losses in free agency. Quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo did leave for the Las Vegas Raiders on a 3-year, $72 million deal. Right tackle Mike McGlinchey.
McGlinchey.
Went to the Broncos on a 5-year, $87.5 million deal. John's over here malfunctioning. Safety Jimmy Ward left for the Texans on a 2-year deal. Defensive end Samson Ebukam.
Good enough for me.
Ebukam left for the Colts on a 3-year, $24 million deal. Defensive end Charles
Amenahue, which is why, before you talk about him, he was one of the guys that he signed with the Chiefs, but he got suspended for 6 games because he violated NFL's personal conduct policy. Yeah, I don't think that means sports gambling because they would just come out and say it. I don't know what personal conduct policy he violated, but him and wide receiver from Seattle, DJ Eskrin or something like that, both of them are suspended. So,
gotcha. Tackle Daniel Brunskill signed with the Tennessee Titans. Linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair signed with Tennessee as well, and Emmanuel Mosley went to the Lions. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo is the big name there, but they have a quarterback room in San Francisco that I think that will be able to get it done.
Yeah, so that is actually what Brayden just asked in the chat. Who's quarterback one?
Well,
Do you want to jump right into it? I agree. It has to be Brock Purdy, especially after what he was able to do last year. And
he's healthy.
Yeah, and Trey Lance didn't do shit yet in the NFL. But for what they traded away to trade up to get Trey Lance, you got to figure out what to do with him. You have to play him to see if he's good. You had faith in him to go get him.
His trade value is extremely diminished at this point. I think it'd be better for them to hold on to him because those draft picks, the draft picks that they lost to get him are gone. The draft pick that they obviously used to get him, it's gone. It's in the past. Obviously, having Trey Lance as your backup quarterback, I mean, there's not a lot of guys that I would say I'd rather have as my backup. He obviously hasn't proved a whole lot in the NFL, but it's just because he hasn't been given the chance. But I think that Brock Purdy, it's his job to lose at this point. And I don't think that that's going to happen.
I agree with you. I kind of thinking about it as the 49ers roster all the way around is like their defense is probably one of the best in history right now. And they got good wide receivers, good running back. But like, is that quarterback room good enough to take them to where they want to go? Like, because eventually, I mean, I know Brock Purdy got hurt in the NFC Championship game, but like eventually it comes down to like, can your quarterback make a play? Can they take you down the field when you're down 3? You need a field goal or a touchdown to savor the game. Like, it's on the quarterback at that point. You know, the wide receivers and running back can't do it by themselves. I'm kind of iffy on if they can do that. Brock Purdy proved that he could win in the regular season last year, and he got them a couple playoff wins. But eventually, it's going to come down to quarterback. Can he do it?
I mean, Brock Purdy's gotten further in the NFC playoffs than Dak Prescott has. So,
I wasn't talking about Dak, but
well, I'm just saying you I think you discounted him a little bit there. He won 2 playoff games. He had to go on the road and play the Eagles, and I mean Hassan Reddick absolutely demolished him. Screw you, Hassan Reddick.
Yeah,
Because I think that had Brock not get hurt, we see a different outcome, and the Niners win that game. And obviously, that's a big old what if. And I don't really like to talk hypotheticals, but I think that with the weapons that Brock has around him, I think that they can. I have them winning this division.
oh
I
yeah.
do too. Yeah.
Far and away.
I don't know about far and away, but
Far and away.
all right, let's keep moving.
And in
Good
free
question,
agency,
though, by the way.
obviously, Gravedigger got Javon Hargrave from the Eagles. We talked about that.
Great.
4-year, $84 million deal worth every goddamn penny. Quarterback Isaiah Oliver from the Falcons, 2-year, $6 million deal. And quarterback Sam Darnold from the Panthers. Obviously, we were just talking about that. Sam is the veteran presence in the locker room now. Obviously, being a Jets fan, I know a little too much about Sam Darnold. Hopefully, if he gets any games, he doesn't see any ghosts or anything. But
I actually forgot about that.
they traded for kicker Zane Gonzalez and also drafted a kicker. We'll touch on that. John believes that they're going to start Jake Moody, not Zane Gonzalez, so it's a little foolish, but late round picks don't really matter. Retaining free agency, center Jake Brown will return on a 4-year, $60 million deal. Obviously, their offensive line is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, they are good all the way around, all across the board. It's just their quarterback room is unproven.
I disagree with that, but
Bro, Brock Purdy, if he's on any other team, he does not perform as well as he did.
well, good thing he's on the Niners.
Well, that's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it's like I'm not.
He sounds like somebody would have said that after Tom Brady came in. It would have been like, if Tom Brady's on any other team, he's not doing as good as he did, and then just goes on to win all these championships.
Hey, if Brock Purdy goes on to win 7 championships, I will come back here 7 years later, 12 years later, 20 years later, however long it is, and shut my mouth.
I don't think he's going to win 7 championships,
Well,
but he's going to.
Then don't compare him to Tom Brady.
I didn't. I'm looking at the wrong guy.
Either. I'm just saying that I'm sure a lot of people said the exact same thing about Tom Brady when he got in late in the game for a couple playoff games, and then won a Super Bowl right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brock ended up going 5-1, 6-1, including playoffs, something like that. His one loss really only being because of the fact that he was out of the game. But we'll see what happens this year. I really think that the Niners honestly will end up better than they were last year, surprising a lot of people. This year, they didn't have a first or second round draft pick when they traded for CMC last offseason. They forfeited quite a few picks in order to get him. I can't remember where their first round pick went because they didn't even end up trading a first for Christian McCaffrey. But round 3 pick 87, safety, I'm going, is it Jair?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Brown from Penn State. Deshaun Gibson signed a 1-year deal in the offseason, but is 32 years old, and Jimmy Ward departed to Houston. So could end up being a key rotational piece for their defense. As we touched on earlier, round 3, pick 99, they selected kicker Jake Moody from Michigan. Pretty high for a kicker in a draft. Obviously, Zane Gonzalez can compete for this job, but unless he ends up shitting the bed, this really should be Jake Moody's job. Let's see. Also in the 3rd round, they took tight end Cameron Latou from Alabama, obviously sitting behind George Kittle. A good mentor to have in this league.
Yeah, obviously he might get some playing time, but obviously George Kittle's the guy there. Yeah. Do you think round 3 pick 99 is too high for a kicker?
Yes. Well, for a team that their weakest link probably is their quarterback, and obviously they're not going to be taking a franchise guy in the 3rd round. Obviously, Brock Purdy is an anomaly.
I was going to say they took their franchise guy in the 7th round.
They never planned on him being the franchise guy.
No, but look where they are now.
You guys never planned on Dak being your franchise guy.
No, you're right. You're right. Just saying.
I always planned on Jordan Love being my franchise
Well,
guy.
yeah, when you
The only offensive player you've taken since Rodgers.
Yeah.
In the first
in
round.
the first round, yeah.
Still.
It's a good record for us.
We'll see how that ends up turning out. I look forward to Jordan Love being on the Jets in 13 years.
It's a little bit longer than that. It's like 16, 18 that we give you guys.
He's already been in the league for 2 years.
Well, yeah, but that was the same thing with like Aaron Rodgers.
All right.
Oh, I guess. Yeah,
It
okay.
was like 15.
Okay, give me 16, 15 or 16.
All right. I just want to share this because I found this tweet from David Lombardi. Okay. 49ers quarterbacks through 9 practices at the 2023 camp. Brock Purdy's got a 65% completion rate, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Trey Lance has a 69% completion rate, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Sam Darnold, 64% completion, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. And Brandon Allen, 64%, 3 touchdowns. Some disclaimer, obviously Brock Purdy is the QB1 on paper, so he sees the most reps against the first team defense. And obviously the 49ers defense, like we talked about, are God tier, okay?
I was going to say they're playing against the best defense in the NFL every week in and week out.
But, I mean, even from those numbers, even Trey Lance definitely sees some QB1 reps as well. I'm not so sure Sam Darnold or Brandon Allen see those reps. But, I mean, obviously, on paper, I think both those guys are neck and neck right now, Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, to get the job. I don't think it's Brock Purdy. It's just like here. That the 49ers spent too much to get Trey Lance to just be like, Brock, you did great last season, and you have the chance to win the starting job, but you still have to prove it. They're not just going to hand it to him.
Yeah, but they kind of balance each other out.
I was about to say, so they gave up too much to just get rid of Trey Lance, but Brock Purdy did too much for them to say that Trey would be the starter over him. Obviously, this offseason and training camp is what will prove that. They'll get some reps. All 4 of them will probably get some reps in their preseason games. Obviously, at this point, it's between Brock Purdy and Trey Lance, but to counter your point, like I said, Brock Purdy has done too much. Being 6-1 as a starting quarterback, and the only loss that he had was because he was injured.
But, like, again, with, like, Super Bowl caliber teams that we talk about, obviously they always have, like, they have a number 1 guy. They don't have this, like, controversy QB room, surrounded. So, like, if Brock Purdy goes out there and loses the first 3 games to put Trey Lance in, he loses 2 out of the 3 games. Like, what are they going to do? Who do they rock with? Like, if they both don't perform well, then you're shit out of luck.
I just think, again, the talent that they have around them, they actually don't have to do a whole lot.
True. Possible. In the regular season.
So,
playoffs, I think, is a little different, but we'll see.
Question in the chat. Is Debo still considered the wide receiver 1, or is Brandon Ayuk kind of taking over that spot? It's definitely still Debo.
Debo's number 1.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk will, even if he was doing better than Debo, I don't think could take that wide receiver 1 spot because Ayuk is in the doghouse so much for this team.
He broke out of it last year, though.
Yeah, but like there was a time the year previous too, I think he went into that doghouse. I don't know what the hell their fucking beef is, but
again, having a S-tier or 1-tiered tight end like they do, statistically, George Kittle was Brock Purdy's favorite target, as he should be. That is, as we talked about before with another tight end, the security blanket for the team. It is really nice of them to be able to have that, and the fact that him and Brock Purdy were able to get going as fast as they did really proves, just how many superstars this team actually has.
Yeah.
They're all speedy and...
Also, disclaimer, I'm done shitting on the 49ers because I also have them pretty high in the NFC standings, but I just feel like there's a lot of question marks with them. More than people like to admit.
I'm just really high and have been really high on Brock Purdy. Obviously,
you're a little biased.
I mean, I met him like 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
All right, we're gonna save the record for predictions for the end. So, Seattle Seahawks.
And the segment's done. We're not talking about them, Braden. Sorry.
And we're done. No, I will take away the Seahawks. Last year, their record is 9-8, and I think it surprised the hell out of everybody. Nobody thought Geno Smith was going to be as god tier as he was. Vegas this year has them at 8.5 wins.
About right where they need to be.
Yep. If Gino comes out and performs just as well as he did last year, I think they smashed that over. But we'll see how it goes. Let's talk about who they lost in free agency, which includes 2 running backs, Travis Homer and Rashad Penny. Homer went to the Chicago Bears, and Rashad Penny went to the Philadelphia Eagles, where he'll definitely see some work if he stays healthy for more than 4 games. Sorry.
Oh.
Dude, that's just how he is. So that's unfortunate for him. Safety Jonathan Abram signed a 1-year deal with the Saints. Linebacker Cody Barton signed with Redskins. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa!
It was a joke, bro. Okay, it's the Commanders. They might.
Apologize.
I apologize.
The Washington football team.
Yeah. The Mexico City Aztecs.
It's a sick name.
Defensive tackle Quentin Jefferson went to the New York Jets, and defensive end Puna Ford went to the Buffalo Bills, all on 1-year deals.
Who Ford?
Pumbaa. Defensive end Draymond Jones went to Denver on a 3-year, $51 million deal.
They got him.
Oh, yeah, sorry. My fault. Safety Julian Love is on the Seahawks now, coming from the Giants.
J Love.
Wrong, J Love.
Oh, I thought the Niners wanted him too. I mean the Seahawks.
Defensive end Jaron Reed came over from Green Bay. And then also old man linebacker Bobby Wagner is back on the Seahawks, coming over from the Rams.
The new Legion of Boom.
Mixed with the old, I guess, I suppose.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah.
Just because Jake will like this joke. I saw that he just joined in the chat. Thanks for joining, Claver. We did just talk about that the Seahawks lost in free agency defensive end Puna Ford. You get that joke. He'll get it.
And linebacker Devin Bush.
Yeah, big fan of Bush.
Big fan of Bush. Too bad Christian's not here.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't get any trades. Seahawks did. And then they also retained quarterback Drew Lock on a 1-year deal because, it's kind of crazy to think about that we were talking about Drew Lock and Geno Smith in like a QB battle last year. Like who's going to be the starter for them. Geno ended up winning that, obviously, and the rest is history. But obviously that's not the case this year.
Yeah, 4,200 yards, 30 touchdowns.
Hey, we'll get to that.
I don't think there's a quarterback controversy in Seattle anymore.
But also with the Seahawks, obviously from the Russell Wilson trade, they have hella draft picks. So they had 2 in the first round and 2 in the second round. Round 1, pick 5 from Denver. They got quarterback Devon Witherspoon from Illinois. He has more career touchdowns, which is 5, than passing touchdowns allowed, 4. And obviously, that's pretty elite, especially playing in the Big Ten. And then he is joining cornerback room. That was already pretty good, considering last year with Tariq Woolen. But the Seahawks were desperately in need of a front 7 player, like linebacker, defensive tackle, because they were really horrible in the run defense last year. And they elected to go corner, which is kind of surprising to me. But
I mean, bringing back Bobby Wagner and adding Devin Bush to that room.
I suppose it's a little bit better.
That definitely helps. For sure.
Obviously, we make jokes about it, but I actually really do like Devin Bush. I think that Steelers really fumbled the bag on that one, letting him walk. And I think that he's going to prove himself as an elite linebacker with the Seahawks. The Seahawks always have a good defense, whether they have big names or not.
All right, let's go. Round 1, pick 20. Arguably and personally the best wide receiver in this draft class, Jackson Smith-Njigba from Ohio State. In 2021, he was hurt last year for the most part, but in 2021, he set a Big Ten single-season record with 1,606 receiving yards on a team who also had Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. So obviously he was the number 1 wide receiver, and we see how well Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave did in their rookie years in the NFL. So, I mean, that sets up Jackson Smith for a crazy rookie year.
They call USC.
Sorry.
Braden just said best wide receiver score hands down.
That's debatable.
It's up there.
Yeah. It's up there for sure. I don't know ready to say it's the best in the league.
They call USC wide receiver U, but
might be State.
Ohio State's got to be up there.
With Marvin Harrison coming out of the draft this next year. Obviously, Caleb Williams right now is the consensus number 1 overall pick, just because he plays quarterback. The best athlete in this next draft is not arguably Marvin Harrison Jr.
So, yeah, this is interesting to me. I mean, it's always obviously up to Geno to spread the ball around, but I mean, all three of these guys could have crazy years in both fantasy football and just, in the world of the NFL. He was seen as the number one,
How old is Tyler?
probably close to 30 now.
Because
He's 32.
I feel like I have now been talking, like, when
30.
we do fantasy
30.
drafts, whoever picks up Tyler Lockett of being like, he's old as shit. He's got to be coming down at some point. And he, hasn't.
He's such a red zone threat.
He's more than that, though, because he still catches the deep bomb every once in a while, and it throws you off. You're just like, what the fuck?
So, like, the past 5 years, Tyler Lockett's averaged about 1,000 yards and about 9 touchdowns. That's pretty damn consistent for a guy that we don't really talk about that much.
The only wide receiver room that's jumping out at me that I think is better than this one, like right away, is the Bengals.
Yeah, okay.
Like, they have
just
as deep, and they have guys that have proven themselves. Obviously, Smith Njigba has that opportunity. He's a rookie, and he could make Braden has a fair point that this really could be the deepest wide receiver room.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how he performs in his rookie year, but, like, if he is as good as everybody thinks he's going to be, yeah, I could.
And if Geno can be who he was this last year again.
Facts.
Not his former self.
Alrighty, let's move on to the second round. Pick 37. This is also from the Denver Broncos, obviously, from that trade. Outside linebacker Derek Hall from Auburn. This man's just fast. He ran a 4.55 40-yard dash and also recorded a broad jump of 10 feet 7 inches, which is top 10% of edge rushers since 2003. Think about how many edge rushers since 2003 they've had in the combine. Just go at it, and he's ranked at top
4.55.
Top 10% in each.
Yeah, that's a freak of nature.
Let's go ahead and look that up. Derek Hall, right?
Yeah, 2 R's.
Not from the Diamondbacks. That is definitely not it.
Not the executive from the Diamondbacks.
This man's she's 254 pounds, 6'3", so pretty standard linebacker size.
4.55.
Yeah, no.
Not standard 40 time.
So obviously, with our first pick, pick 5, I talked about how they kind of needed a front 7 player. They might have gotten a steal in this. I mean, it was early second round, obviously, coming from round 2, pick 5, technically second round. Yeah. So pretty close to the first round. But yeah, this guy might be a beast. Could be. He's got what's the word I'm looking for?
Swagger.
No, I don't think that was it. We'll rock with it. He's got the swagger to be a good linebacker in the league.
The moxie.
The what?
You're just over there going like this.
I don't know what word this is.
Man's has got so much of this.
And we talked about this last draft pick slightly.
Yeah, round 2, pick 52, running back Zach Charbonnet. Sounds like a fancy wine. From UCLA.
Does kind of, actually.
Yeah, it does. But this stat that I saw on ESPN Stats and Information, kind of crazy to me. He broke or evaded 124 tackles over the last 2 seasons. The only person that is better than him in that was the 6th overall pick in this year's draft, a.k.a. Bijan Robinson. So
Bijan Robinson
looks crazy, bro.
Yeah, and he's going top 5 in a lot of fantasy drafts.
Like, it just even his like training camp videos are like insane. Like, he's breaking down linebackers. There was one clip that a linebacker got the best of him and like lock him up, and then literally like 2 plays later, dude's like broken ankles on the ground. Like, Bijan took that personal. But yeah, dude, he looks like he is insane, like freak of nature. So, and if he's the highest paid running back via cash this season, he might as well be.
Save record predictions for later.
Yeah, for sure.
Any questions from the chat? Braden?
It's going to be, I like Braden. This. Okay. Braden said, like, it's going to be hard for secondaries to cover all of the Seahawks wide receivers. I agree with that because there's not a lot of people that can have like 3 cornerbacks that can line up with 3 great wide receivers. I think we see that with You brought up the Bengals. Like, their passing game is so elite because they can just spread the ball around wherever versus teams that do have, like, one great wide receiver and a couple mediocre ones. Obviously, at least all teams have a pretty good cornerback one, except maybe the Raiders, who we talked about last week. So, like, they can follow them around if that's what they do. Like, people like Jair, who needs to follow people around, or Trayvon Diggs.
We might even see a better season from.
I can't just sit here and say that. Are you telling me that Rasul Douglas isn't a good cornerback too?
I mean, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. I mean, Jair steps above him.
He steps above everybody.
Well,
he's the best cornerback in the league.
That's foolish.
You're dumb.
That's foolish. Players of the NFL don't say so.
Players in the NFL have CTE.
Not all of them.
Not yet.
Wow, jeez, guy. Out of pocket. We gotta move on before we get canceled.
It's not even my episode anymore. I'm still getting trashed here.
You're gonna have to come at every single NFL.
Alexander's top 3.
And he ain't 3.
And he's not 1.
You said, you come at my team, I come at every NFL player out there. Every single one.
Oh, except for if you're a Packer.
Yeah.
Then I'm not gonna attack you.
He said every NFL player. Horrible. Said the Packers players.
Honestly, whoever you just listed as your guys' cornerback 2, I've never even heard his name before. So
Rasul Douglas?
I guarantee.
He used to be a practice squad member on the Cardinals.
Love that.
Probably where he still belongs.
No. He's better. He's better than that.
Not true. When the Packers and the Cardinals were playing the other year, it was like the game-winning drive for the Cardinals, and then that's who picked it off in the end zone was Douglas, and he came like just off the practice squad from them like 2 weeks before that.
I remember actually hearing that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Now he's on the Packers. I do know who that is.
Yeah, he's really not that bad.
Yeah.
And we also have Keon Nixon.
You're so out of pocket, Damon.
What?
I can't with you.
Don't worry, that'll be clipped.
No, it won't.
Oh, good.
Because I don't want to get canceled.
Sweet.
We're going to have to edit this. Delete the live.
Because you wanted more out-of-pocket comments.
Okay, but that was a little too far.
No, I don't think it was too far. Because, I mean, he's not actually wrong. They just don't know until they're dead if they actually have CTE or not. So
I appreciate you defending me, but it does sound really bad.
Yeah, it does. Yes, it does.
On to the Rams.
Yes, please. Please move on, please.
Segment is over, thank God.
The Los Angeles Rams. Last year, they had a record of 5-12. A little bit of a step back after some injuries. They kind of did go all out for the Super Bowl, so we kind of all expected this to happen. Not really a dynasty-built team, in my opinion. I kind of saw this coming. But Vegas odds now has them at 6.5, so having them do better, technically, than what they did last year.
Yeah, they dealt with a lot of injuries.
They did. Year. They really did.
A lot. Probably the most in the NFL.
Having to go sign Baker Mayfield just proves how...
True. He didn't do horrible.
No, he didn't.
I was thinking about that game against, the Raiders? Like, this first game. Like, he got there on Tuesday and then started the Thursday night game and then led the game-winning touchdown comeback.
It's impressive.
Definitely.
That's on his career highlights.
Out of a movie script.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
Not the NFL script. Just a movie script.
You don't think they wrote that in there?
No.
No.
That was all Baker. He was defying odds, truthfully. He shouldn't. They expected nothing from him.
They didn't have time to write a script because of how fast he got there.
Yeah, they're like, fuck it. Figure it out.
What?
Did you actually... What was it that he said? He actually rented a house in L.A. before he even signed his deal with the Rams. Before
it was meant to be.
The deal, he went and rented a house in LA because he knew that it was going to happen.
Oh, well, if he knew it was going to happen, it's just good planning.
Yeah.
Smart of him.
But
I mean, if he doesn't get signed, then he's just in LA for a week, anyways. Who cares?
Yeah, no, he's
have a nice little vacation if you don't get picked up.
So we'll get there too.
So lost in free agency for the Los Angeles Rams.
They kind of lost him. I understand.
Yeah, I mean,
he sat out for a whole year.
Yeah, I mean,
it's most recent team he was on.
Yeah. Wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. is who we're talking about. He went to Baltimore, signed on a 1-year deal for $15 million. Linebacker Leonard Floyd went to Buffalo on a 1-year deal. Safety Taylor Rapp went to Buffalo also on a 1-year deal. Safety Nick Scott went to Cincinnati on a 3-year, $12 million deal. It's pretty good. I'm not going to say he doesn't deserve that, but
I don't really know who
it's
that
not
is,
really a
if I'm
whole
being
lot.
completely honest.
Right,
So
like he's not
really.
I know the name.
Nick Scott.
I know the name. It's just 3-year deal. It's good for him.
Well, the Bengals needed it, losing their top 2 safeties this year.
Troll. We did talk about that in the other episode for sure. Kicker Matt Gay went to Indianapolis Colts on a 4-year, $22 million deal. Pretty good for a kicker.
I would agree.
Defensive end Ashawn Robinson goes to the New York Giants on a 1-year deal. Lost linebacker Bobby Wagner, who we already talked about, to Seattle. And quarterback Baker Mayfield, who we were just talking about, is going to Tampa Bay on a 1-year deal. Gained in free agency for the Rams. This list is hella long. We're starting off with wide receiver Demarcus Robinson. Came from Baltimore Ravens on a 1-year deal.
And that's it.
And that's the list. Yep. Good job, Rams.
You guys are funny.
Traded away this offseason. We talked about this already in another podcast, but they lost cornerback Jalen Ramsey to Miami, who is currently now hurt. They received tight end Hunter Long, a 3rd-round pick.
What's long about him?
I really appreciate you saying Hunter and not Hunter.
Do I usually call you Hunter?
No.
Oh.
Most people do.
I feel like I always call you Hunter.
No, I'm just saying I appreciate when people actually pronounce the T.
So,
Hunter.
So some people call you Hunter, and then your nickname is Hunty. So do they go Honey?
I mean, my wife calls me Honey.
Honey.
Cute.
Auntie.
But anyways.
Also traded away in the offseason wide receiver Allen Robinson. That did not work out for the Rams as much as they were hoping to. He definitely did better there than he did for the Bears, though, in a short stint.
I was about to say, I think that it didn't work out for Allen Robinson. Not that it didn't work out for the Rams.
Yeah. He is now on the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, and they swapped 7th-round picks for him.
Hello, fellow oxygen breathers.
I don't breathe oxygen. All I do is win.
Don't tell me. Mr. Vinted is Morgan.
Correct.
Yeah.
Whoa, you can't just out him.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, he's like, the FBI is going to break the
protection. No. Sorry about that, Morgan.
No. Oh,
you did it again.
It already happened. I might as well just keep saying it.
So who's that? No, just
so you keep saying my name, or you're gonna no longer be an oxygen breather.
I apologize, Mr. Vinted.
There you go. That's funny.
Retained in free agency for the Rams, they were able to keep guard Coleman Shelton on a 2-year, $5 million deal. And that's the end of that list. So the Rams really did a hell of a lot for keeping people and signing free agents this year.
Yes.
Along with them.
Sorry, I just want to say that, like, for a team that especially really struggled in the offensive line department last season.
Whoa! Yo!
Everybody just got real quiet. You want to read it? I pinned it, so don't worry. It'll be up there.
It'll definitely be clipped.
That was just rude.
I thought he was going to flame me for outing him, but I appreciate you for flaming him.
Yeah, what did I do?
Existed.
I guess it's time to stop breathing in secondhand and start just going for the real deal. Fuck y'all.
If I was wearing a Jets jersey, he would be roasting the shit out of me.
Fact.
God damn.
We'll leave that for another week.
But as I was saying, is that for a team that struggled with the offensive line last year, they gave up the most sacks out of anybody in the NFL. To not go out and even try to get an offensive lineman in free agency or just...
I mean, they did in the draft.
Okay, but that's sketchy, especially when you're a couple of years removed from a Super Bowl and have a aging man at quarterback.
Very true.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think that was their plan all along. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew what they're getting themselves into.
Obviously, every team every year wants to go out and compete, but now that Matthew Stafford has won a ring, do you think the effort is still the same?
It is for McVay.
He wants to retire too.
It is for Aaron
He
Donald
wants to be in
too.
the broadcast.
It's also for Aaron Donald too, because he was also talking about retiring, and if he's gonna be there, him, he's gonna fucking play.
Yeah, but I'm saying with Matthew Stafford, I'm not trying to discount him at all, but I feel like that was his goal. Like that, he deserved that in Detroit, in my opinion, with the talent that he had around him. Calvin Johnson.
Talent.
Last thing about breathing
Single
oxygen.
talent.
You were the one that said, I don't breathe oxygen. So then that's why he said that. Also,
True, I did.
let's talk about this question. You think Cooper Kupp's still going to be a valuable asset? And like in fantasy, especially?
Yes.
He's
I don't know
going
if you should be drafting him that high, because it does seem like he's going in round 1.
So the only thing that I think saves that is like obviously he had like record-breaking Triple Crown season. We're only 2 years removed from that. Like he still performed quite well.
What was his injury this last year? Ankle?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware. And then like we're only 2 years removed from that, and although he did get injured last year, but like he was still doing great on the Rams in the early season. Like we forget that they were at 500 through 6 games. The Rams were, and then obviously fell off the face of the cliff when Matthew Stafford got injured, and then we got Cooper Kupp got injured, and then it was just a snowball effect. So now that all of them are healthy, I still see him as valuable enough.
I guess it was his knee, and he also tweaked his hamstring this week.
Oh, shit, he didn't hurt himself again?
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. It said he's day-to-day, and he'll return.
He'll be ready before week 1.
Oh, geez, your phone at an angle. I just saw the pictures. And they were in the all blue. I thought he was in a Giants uniform.
These uniforms.
Just traded to the New York Giants.
Breaking news. We got it first.
Just kidding. Don't spread that. That was
better than their old ones.
That was not true.
Their old ones were so ugly.
You like the all blue?
Yeah. I mostly like the yellow.
I liked it when they had the
gold,
like the horns on the shoulder pad. Oh, you don't like the gold and blue? Those like the Isaac Bruce days?
No.
Oh, I thought those were sick.
I think they upgraded immensely. Their jerseys still have that on it. You were just looking at their practice jersey.
Yeah.
All right. What's next, Dad?
Moving on to the Rams draft. They did not have a first-round pick. They got in the second round at pick 36, guard Steve Avila out of TCU. Avila adds depth to the offensive line that allowed 59 sacks last season. Probably also why Stafford got hurt.
Over under 45.5 sacks for the Rams this year.
That is dropping the line very low.
Over.
They had 59 they allowed last year.
But
signing one guard in the second round is going to eliminate 15 sacks, John?
Yeah, I mean, they also had like offensive line injuries as well last season, So
they also took one of the most versatile quarterbacks in the 4th round.
Well, let's talk about their 3rd round pick first.
Spoiler alert. Round 3, pick 77, linebacker Byron Young out of Tennessee. Rotational pass rusher on defense who ranked in the bottom tier in sacks last season. So not only are they letting up the most sacks in the league, they're also not producing any sacks.
It's a horrible recipe if you're an NFL team. That is like...
They really went all in a few years ago to win that Super Bowl, and...
They're hurting now.
I mean, if they tried to use that same formula, they could probably make more waves, but it doesn't seem like they're trying to spend all of the money in the world to do so.
If you're a Rams fan, it's tough for you right now because Matthew Stafford's not getting any younger. Aaron Donald already said, I'm about done. Sean McVay doesn't want to be there anymore. Nobody, really knows, what their future looks like.
It's tough for them, though, because they got what they wanted. They got a Super Bowl. They understood what their team was doing, and at the time, it seemed like everybody was on board. Obviously, you can piss and moan now in hindsight that it already happened, but what if you didn't get the Super Bowl and now you're sitting here? Then you could complain, but you guys got your championship.
I know we briefly talked about it, but probably one of the biggest Super Bowl hangovers in the history. I really didn't expect them to be this bad, and obviously injuries played a big part in it.
Yeah, definitely.
You can never predict that. And especially losing Odell, I think that the combination of him and Cooper Kupp is really, I mean, obviously their defense was very good when they won the Super Bowl. But having those two guys on opposite sides of the field, especially in Cooper Cup's Triple Crown season, so
They did. I mean, okay, I agree with you, Damon. Like, they got their championship, so it's a W. But who knows the next time they'll be in that situation because of.
that's why I say the whole thing with like, again, every team wants to win the Super Bowl, but are they doing anything to make that happen? Like they did a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, at least at this point right now, like we talked about, they retained one person in free agency. They lost a whole bunch, and they gained DeMarcus Robinson. Like, they did nothing on a team that went 5-12 last year.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing about that team that says we were only 2 years removed from the Super Bowl. Let's try to run it back. They did absolutely nothing in their power to try to do anything about that.
Having grown up in Arizona, I watched a lot of Rams games, watching them play the Cardinals twice a year, and I feel like they're always that team. When people are expecting them to do well, they shit the bed, and when people are expecting them to shit the bed, they somehow prove people wrong.
Well, I think they're going to shit the bed this year and not do.
I mean, it could be both.
The trend breaks now.
Because I mean, they made it to the Super Bowl a few years ago with Jared Goff, correct?
Yep.
And they lost to the
13-3, the worst Super Bowl in NFL history.
Yeah.
I'd argue Super Bowl 1 was better to watch than.
Damn straight it was.
Okay, you're biased on that. Super Bowl 5 was still better to watch than.
I don't know about that.
But
in the halftime show of Super Bowl 1, they had somebody come out in a jetpack and fly around the stadium. Pretty fucking sick.
they had jetpacks on
back
then?
Yeah, apparently. Look it up. It's horrible camera quality, but there's some guy that's just out on the field like.
Was he actually from the future or what?
Also, I lied. Super Bowl 5 was not a good one because the Colts defeated the Cowboys 16-13.
Oh, that was probably one of
the
the
best.
An
amazing one, yeah. It's a good one.
We should actually go back
on a field goal with 5 seconds left in the game.
You want to start replaying old
Just
Super Bowls?
let's watch every Super Bowl from.
No. I just meant we should make him watch it.
Oh no, I think we should watch every Super Bowl from the first one to 56, 7, 8, 9.
58 is this
Yeah.
I'd love to watch Super Bowl 59 right now. You got a time machine?
Apparently that guy with the jetpack did.
You holding out?
All right, round 4, pick 128. Who was it, Damon?
The man, the myth, the legend, Stetson Bennett from Georgia.
What position did he play? No,
he is the quarterback.
I wrote this.
So, yeah, are you going to talk about what I was going to talk about? Because I read something as well that had to do with Sony Michel.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
So, Sony Michel and Stetson Bennett were on the same team in Georgia. But Sony Michel has already gone to like 4 different teams and has retired before Stetson Bennett has
also won 2 Super Bowls
into the NFL.
Yeah.
Say that again, sorry.
Stetson Bennett and Sony Michel were teammates in Georgia. But Sony Michel has already gone through like his entire NFL career and retired before Stetson Bennett has actually stepped on the NFL field.
Stetson Bennett, wasn't he like a 7th-year senior or some shit?
So, Sony Michel was on 4 different teams and won 2 Super Bowls. And they played in college together. Now he's retired. Stetson Bennett has still not played a game in the NFL. Crazy.
He's like 28, something like that.
Okay, but I want to talk about this a little bit with him. I know he's old, was one, but a quarterback who leads Georgia to back-to-back national championships goes in the 4th round. Okay? Why? I'm surprised nobody wanted to take a chance on him earlier than they did.
Because the defense is what carried those national championships.
He still had to score points. And they did a lot. They scored a lot of points when he was there. So that's why I put this man could be sneaky good. If Stafford goes down with an injury or retires in the next couple of years, who's to say Stetson Bennett doesn't come in and does something? I mean, that might not even be with the Rams per se, because obviously we talked about they're not really doing much to help them win now or in the future.
Or is it tank for Caleb Williams?
I don't.
So the Cardinals don't get him. Congratulations, Caleb Williams. You're a Cardinal.
Yeah, after that one clip, Jesus Christ. Dude, I don't know. I don't know. Stetson Bennett could be really good. I obviously think he could be.
I honestly don't think he can be.
I understand where people come from, that they don't think that his game will translate to the NFL.
But a guy who's been that good in college doesn't get any sort of hype. Surprises me.
Tim Tebow was great in college.
And he still got hype enough, and he won a playoff game.
True.
Was it?
Sorry, Christian.
That was a sick playoff game.
First play of overtime.
Yeah.
He just ran that bitch. Look at it.
For those of you who don't know, Tim Tebow did not run that bitch. He threw that bitch to Demaryius Thomas.
For like a
60 yard?
60-something yard.
Yeah, just on like a 20-yard slant, too.
Yeah.
Just like stiff armed the guy that was right on him right off the bat.
All right.
And then used his wheels.
Speedy fast.
Let's move on really quick to the Arizona Cardinals.
The worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, we can all jump around and kind of do this one because, well, I'm wearing a Suns jersey today because it's the only Arizona apparel that I own. So, yes, I know this is a football podcast. Morgan flamed us earlier. He's like, you're wearing a basketball jersey and a baseball jersey and you're talking about football.
We're all wearing basketball
jerseys in that shirt.
Yeah, but this is sports, not sport. That's one sport. That's one sport. This is sports. Like multiple sports.
I don't get it.
Like football, basketball, baseball, hockey.
I don't know any of those sports.
UFC,
Cricket,
sports,
pool, darts,
Yeah.
bags.
Cornhole.
With the Cardinals, obviously, big news this offseason is that Kyler Murray had surgery and is probably going to be out for half the season.
Yeah.
I mean, gives him a lot of time to play Call of Duty, so that obviously makes him happy. But that leaves them Colt McCoy, Clayton Tune, and David Blau.
Who is
Their-
Clayton?
I don't know.
That's their QB2 right now. He's listed above David Blau. I obviously see Colt McCoy. They're competing in training camp, but if you guys haven't seen it, we'll make sure to create a clip that includes it. But the quarterbacks at Cardinals training camp are throwing footballs at people's helmets. Did you see that clip?
No, I did
It was
not.
bad.
But, I mean,
It was a clip of, I think it was actually Clayton Tune. Or
Yeah,
David Blau.
they threw like a 15-yard in. It was supposed to be
Yeah.
for the receiver, and the cornerback was like
In front of
3
him.
yards away, like in front of him.
Between
and they-
him
and they,
the
like-
receiver and the ball.
It hit the corner in the head. And he was like,
Someone like clipped it and said, then that's where I said earlier.
Caleb-
Congratulations,
there's Caleb.
Caleb Williams, you're an Arizona Cardinal.
yeah,
Which honestly is actually I don't know if it's much of a hot take, but I think that the Cardinals will move on from Kyler Murray this season. They will trade him away. They're going to end up winning no more than
one
4
game.
games max if they get lucky. They do have the opportunity to beat the Commanders week 1, in my opinion. Anything can happen week 1 in the NFL. But I think they move on from Kyler this offseason and reset at quarterback for the 3rd time in about 6 seasons. And they could end up with the 1st and 2nd overall pick this next season because I think they own Houston's first rounder or something. this
Yeah,
next year.
because it's when Houston traded up to get Will Anderson,
Yeah.
right?
So they could end up with like 1 and possibly anywhere between 2 and 6.
Or the Texans are good, like I predict, and they get like 1 and 15.
They could still move up from 15.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Even having 2 first-round picks in next year's draft could be really sneakily good for them.
Obviously, other than Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr. will probably be the 2nd person off the board. And if they have 1 and 2, that would be a very good way for the Cardinals to at least try to reset and make some waves. But they also fired Coach Cliff Kingsbury and hired Jonathan Gannon. I think that this is probably one of the worst offseason moves that they had. Jonathan Gannon, in my opinion, really hasn't proven himself at all as a coach. And if you haven't seen videos of him interacting with his new players, he's awkward as
Dude,
hell.
he really is.
So awkward.
His lingo.
And they still owe Cliff Kingsbury money for the next like 12 years now.
oh, he was so bad.
Yeah, but
You needed to get him out.
Yeah, but Jonathan Gannon's not better.
Oh, sure. It's just bad hiring.
They also did fire their GM Steve Keim brought in a new guy. I don't know what his name is. But I think that regime change will honestly benefit them over the next several years.
Should, yeah.
Steve Keim, year after year, never did anything to prove himself, and he just kept getting extensions. Bidwell, I think, is their owner, and they are like best of friends, him and Steve Keim, and he gave him way too many opportunities. Not very often do we talk about GMs that have off the field issues, but he was like suspended for part of last season for his DUI.
Oh,
Tough.
And
You got a Dewey? Nah.
and like he wasn't like that's when they should have fired him. Like
Yeah.
it shouldn't have waited. It shouldn't have been this long.
Poor guy got a Dewey.
But yeah, I think the Cardinals definitely have the possibility to be the worst team in the NFL this year.
I agree.
I think they could win no games. Especially, okay, if they do what you said that they're going to do and trade Kyler, there's a chance they don't win any games. 100%. This team
You don't
on
like
paper,
Colt McCoy?
this team on paper looks worse than the team that went 0-16 with the Lions. Okay? They really do.
Colt McCoy.
No.
He won a game last year.
One.
Yeah.
He said that's all it takes is one.
To not go 0-17?
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's talk about who they lost in free agency.
Take it away.
Defensive end, Zach Allen, 3-year, $47 million deal to the Denver Broncos. Cornerback Byron Murphy went to Minnesota on a 2-year, $17 million deal. And just recently, wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins went, well, I mean, they released him, but then he went to Tennessee on a 2-year, $26 million deal. So
This
there goes
just
there.
adds to what we're talking about. They
Yeah.
didn't get better. They definitely got worse this offseason.
And for a team that went 4-13 to get worse is why we talk about 0-17 seasons.
Yeah. Cornerback Byron Murphy leaving. He's following the path of Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson left the Cardinals cornerback room to join the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, Patrick Peterson's no longer there, but there was that report that came out that the Cardinals have the worst facility.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
They make their players pay for food like they're not a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins specifically requesting a trade and then being released because they couldn't shop him. I think all around front office, coaching staff, offense, defense, worst team in the NFL. Some players that they gained in free agency this year: outside linebacker Kazir White from the Eagles and wide receiver Zach Pascal from the Eagles. For these guys to come off of playing in the Super Bowl to
Going to the Cardinals
is so tough for them.
Some people just want the bag, baby.
Neither one of them really got. I mean, 2-year, $10 million is a lot of money, but
I would take $10 million right now.
yeah. But would you rather go back to the Eagles on a 1-year, $1 million deal in order to?
Depends if I was
possibly win a
playing.
Super
I'd rather
Bowl?
play.
Yeah, I guess you're right there. Offensive tackle Dennis Daly joined the Cardinals from the Tennessee Titans, 2-year, $3 million deal, and a whole lot of other people that signed 1-year deals, but there's way too many people that aren't notable enough to even talk about. So,
Yikes, yeah, that's pretty much a trend with the Arizona Cardinals. Damon, you want to talk about who they retained, or are you going to text your girlfriend over there?
I was actually filling out my draft that I forgot to do. Retained in free agency, they retained. Whoa, did you fuck with my computer, JK? You didn't. My bad. I don't know why I called you out. My apologies. Gained in free agency or retained?
who you were calling out?
Retained.
Guard Will Hernandez. Stop highlighting shit. I can't read it. 2-year, $9 million deal. I'm out.
I'll change that real quick.
Oh, I appreciate you. I wasn't asking you to. They retained kicker Matt Prater on a 2-year, $7 million deal, and left tackle Calvin Beecham on a 2-year, $5 million deal.
Beecham. Not to be confused with Kenny Beecham, who's like my inspiration to do all this kind of stuff. Shout out Kenny Beecham. KOT4Q.
Oh, yeah, I do know who that is,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I was drawing a blank so much.
But that's my guy right there. If anybody doesn't know about him and you're watching right now, go check him out. KOT4Q on YouTube, or you can type in Kenny Beecham. I'm sure you can find him. Let's talk about. Thank you.
Thanks, Hunter.
Thanks, Hunter. Gunna.
No problem, Damon.
Oh.
Yikes.
Yeah, never mind. Oh, that's gonna stop.
Some other notable draft picks. They get round 1 pick 6. They drafted offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State. You know, it's kind of a weird trend that we got going on in the NFL this year too, is because Paris Johnson Sr. was drafted for the Cardinals in the 5th round of the 1999 NFL draft. Well, offensive line help, just like the Rams, was essential for them. At least the Cardinals went out and addressed it in the first 10 picks of this draft. I mean, obviously the Rams didn't have a first-round pick, but they didn't address that at all. Anyways, offensive line help was definitely needed for this team. It's going to be tough that he's going to have to go through some dog days with this team until they're actually good. So we'll see how it goes.
No matter who's at quarterback. No matter who's at quarterback, obviously they needed offensive line help.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
Oh, for sure.
Pick 41, linebacker BJ Ojulari. Ojulari, that's what it is. Thank you for helping me, because I remember because they're his brother plays on the New York Giants. I'm blanking on his first name though. Anyways, he came from.
Hopefully not BJ also.
No, I doubt it. But he came over from LSU, and after the Cardinals lost their 3 primary pass rushers in J.J. Watt, Zach Allen, and Marcus Golden during the offseason, Cardinals were in desperate need of reinforcement. So I think they got like 2 positions of need in this draft, but it's obviously not good enough to make them win any games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, again, we didn't even talk about that with obviously J.J. Watt retiring. That was like the bright spot. I mean, they do have some decent players on defense still.
Buda Baker is one of them.
Yeah, and Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, he's not as good as I turned out to be.
Cardinal anymore.
What?
I'm pretty sure he is.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
He was just hanging out with Fish Wainwright the other day. He saw in his rookie deal.
Yep. He's okay. Why is he listed at corner?
Because he's just.
Well, I mean, coming into the league, he was a safety technically, and then they tried to move him to linebacker. So now they're.
Why are they moving him to corner now?
Nickel package out. Dude.
Try.
That would actually be kind of sick.
Might as well try anything.
Yeah, nickel.
I was about to say he was that roaming linebacker really this last year.
Dude, what the hell? So if you go on ESPN and you say Isaiah Simmons, he's listed at right cornerback right here, backup, right? You click on him, linebacker. Yeah. So this man just plays everything.
That's the thing. He really is that hybrid. That's what they turned him into.
Yeah, but how's that panning out for him?
He's like a slot corner.
That is so weird. So weird.
But yeah, obviously.
I kind of like it.
He's a jack of all trades, master of none.
There's very, very few people on this team that are
Madden superstar.
Madden superstar.
If you get that guy in your franchise, he's always in the running for, like, people abuse that card.
Yeah, true.
Player. He's just too tall and too fast to be playing that linebacker position.
Well, apparently he's a corner now, so you just light him up at corner.
No, I want him at linebacker still. I put my safety at linebacker.
Cheap.
Cornerbacker.
Cheap.
Yeah. Quarterback.
Cheap.
Running back.
Running over. You do it. Stop it. All right. Let's go into our record predictions right now. So we're going to talk about our record predictions of the NFC West. And you motherfuckers look at the camera when you talk, please.
I'll go first this time.
All right, go ahead.
So.
You were like, last time you read your record predictions, you're like, for this one I have.
This year, I have the
I didn't know that.
San Francisco 49ers going 14-3, ending up as the 1 seed in the NFC and getting the first round bye in the NFC playoffs.
Boo. Nobody like that.
The Seahawks, I have going 9-8, same as last season, ending up as the 8 seed on the outside looking in. The Rams, I have going 5-12 as the 14 seed. And I have the Cardinals as not actually the worst team in the NFL, but damn near it, going 2-15 as the 16 seed in the NFC.
That's a lot. Damon,
you just said that you thought they're going 0-17.
Yeah, it's true. I think they really could. You want to know the games I have them winning? Commanders week 1, Just kidding. I changed that. Lol. I have them winning against the Browns, the Texans, and the Bears this season.
Matthew's going to be pissed.
They are who we thought they were. We let them off the hook. Remember that game?
Yeah.
You? Cardinals Bears playoffs?
Yeah.
That was an all-time clip. I forget what that coach's name is. Per John's request. For the NFC West, I have the 49ers win this division, going 14-3 and being the second seed in the NFC. Coming in second place in the NFC West, I have the Seahawks going 9-8, being the 8th seed in the NFC. So just barely missing the playoffs.
Damn.
Sorry.
Are you, though?
No, not. Although, we should kind of mention, we didn't mention it, out of all the throwback unis they released, I do think the Seahawks have the sickest ones.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep, I think that is not even a crazy take. I think that everybody kind of agrees on that one. Coming in third place in the NFC West, I have the Rams going 3-14 and being the 13th seed in the NFC. And in last place in this division, I have the Arizona Cardinals going 2-15 and being the last seed in the NFC and being the worst team in the entire NFL.
Yikes. Rip if you're a Cardinals fan. I don't think there's a lot of them left out there, but
You live in Arizona now, dog.
okay, maybe there are a lot.
See so many license plates everywhere.
So many.
All right.
Everybody's going to have to switch to Suns and Diamondbacks.
Facts.
Well,
They're the only good teams around here now.
Go Yotes.
and the Diamondbacks are slumping.
Yeah, right now they are. Let's talk about my record predictions in the NFC West. First and foremost, I have the San Francisco 49ers going 13-4 and being the 2 seed in the NFC. Next, but certainly not least, no, I'm just kidding, is the Seattle Seahawks. I have them going 10-7 and being the 7th seed in the NFC. So unlike you guys, I actually have them making the playoffs again as a 7th seed again.
And playing the Niners in the first round.
Again. Which they'll lose again. Okay, lots of agains. And then I have the Rams at 6-11, so not as bad as you guys have them going, but also the 13th seed in the NFC. And last and definitely least is the Arizona Cardinals going 3-14, so I'm just a little bit better than you guys have them, but also damn near the last seed. I think I have them as the 15th seed. Maybe have the Commanders worse, but I think I might end up changing that because I don't think they're going to be as bad as the Cardinals.
You just want them to be bad.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Maybe my bias is showing. Alrighty.
Questions?
None.
No, I meant
No questions?
these questions.
Oh. We
did talk about all of them pretty much.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did.
Yep.
Except other than is Geno a top 10 QB?
I think the better question is, and I know I told you to put this question in there, is I think we'd all agree he's a top 10 quarterback from last season. Can he stay a top 10 quarterback?
Yeah, that was actually my question that I put on there is, can Geno do it again? This was the stat that I had. Before last season, he had never thrown for more than 3,000 yards or more than 13 touchdowns. Obviously, last year he proved everyone wrong, probably including himself. 4,282 yards, 4,282 yards, and 30 touchdowns last season. I think he had a couple rushing touchdowns as well. But if Geno can run it back, I don't have them making the playoffs, but they definitely have the potential to. They, in my opinion, did get better this offseason. But they are in a division where they have to play the Niners twice, and all of those division games can be really close.
I think that was part of my deciding factor on if I was going to have the Seahawks make the playoffs or not, was can Geno do it again?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to fall off and go back to being old Geno, but these numbers were really, really good. I just don't see him really taking a step forward from this or being anywhere the same. So I think he takes a little bit of a step back, especially with what we're hearing now with the running back issues. Like, it's really hard to have a really good passing game with no running offense.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of why I think this offense is just going to take a step back. The defense is still getting better for sure, but
So now I'm looking at these like PFF quarterback rankings. I don't have Geno Smith as a top 10 quarterback because I agree with all of the top 10. Patrick
just run to
Mahomes,
it.
Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott. I have Tua above him. I'd argue Matthew Stafford's still above him. I don't agree with Deshaun Watson or Derek Carr, so I'd maybe have him at 13. But I'd also probably put Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, and Justin Fields right next to him as well. So he's a top.
I was going to.
He's a top half.
I don't think that he's a top 10 quarterback. I was looking at the ESPN just released their ranking as well, and they had Matthew Stafford at 10, and I actually moved him out of my top 10. There's a couple other guys that I think could move in there, but Geno Smith, I don't think, as long as they can get their running backs back and healthy, he doesn't even have to be a top 10 quarterback.
We love Bryce Young being over Jordan Love.
Oh my God!
They really have Jordan Love ranked that low?
26 out of 32.
Just barely ahead of Sam Howell.
And Baker and Colt McCoy. Okay, they have C.J. Stroud and Desmond Ridder and Anthony Richardson under Colt McCoy.
Anthony Richardson's going to turn some heads this year.
Yeah, I think so too. We'll talk about them when we talk about the AFC South, which is in 2 weeks.
Away.
Who's next week, John?
The NFC South.
You almost fucked it up. You really almost fucked it up. It's the South.
I thought you said
the Sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
All right. Everybody's favorite segment.
Yeah, so I guess I do have to agree.
Yeah.
That Geno is no longer a top 10 quarterback, in my opinion. He's damn close.
I mean, yeah, he's like...
Well, and he has that potential.
He's top 15 for sure.
That's what he has to prove this season, is that I think that, again, quarterback play in the NFL is, I mean, it's the most important position, and their success is going to ride on him.
Is Tua at 11 on that list? Fucking outrageous. And okay. Like, you agree that's kind of outrageous.
I think that's who I was saying. ESPN had Matthew Stafford at 10 and Tua lower, and I put Tua up in my top 10.
You did. So you do think he's top 10?
Tua?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready to say
when he's
that.
Healthy.
Yeah, but like...
Speaking of CPE.
Said, I'm going to skip over that comment because we're done talking about CTE.
Yikes. I didn't say anything.
This time.
I don't even know what CTE is.
We'll clip the shit out of it.
Yeah. No, we're deleting it.
I mean, 2 out of 11. I mean, yeah, I think he's fine there. Deshaun Watson
at 13. I don't
like
Deshaun Watson being at 13. He could be. I just don't think you can't just put him there still after old shit.
Yeah, to answer your question, or like because we asked if he was top 10, he was top 10 quarterback last season. But if we're starting a brand new season and ranking quarterbacks based on where we think they should be, and it'll depend on how they play this season. So was he a top 10 quarterback last year? Yes. Is he going to be one this year? Time will tell.
Well, then, yeah, but then...
Because I wouldn't put Aaron Rodgers in my top 10 last year. He did not play like a top 10 quarterback last year.
No, he did not.
But now that it's a new season, he's on a new team, I'd still put him up there. Yeah. I mean, he could easily fall out of that very quickly.
Especially being in top 5. That's kind of crazy. I don't think Matthew Stafford is going to be a top 10 quarterback this upcoming season.
Nope. See, that's another one, too, that he could just fall. All right, let's go for sake of time. Moving on to the NFC West draft. If you're new around here, we're going to draft the top 9 players in the NFC West. So we're each going to have 3 picks, snake draft. You know the jizz. Pause. I was going to say jizz. I forgot to put the T on it. Sorry.
Still not jizz.
All right. For that, I think I deserve the first pick.
I don't know about that.
We're going off of whoever gets the first pick by who said the most fucked up shit on the cast. I get the first pick.
Yeah, Hunter's a close second. Who had the first pick? Oh, Jenna had the first pick last week.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks it's been...
Yeah, and you had the second pick last week. You had the third, and I had the last.
You're first.
Yay.
Go ahead.
I suppose now you're putting me on the spot and I'm nervous. No, I'm just kidding. I think this one's pretty self-explanatory. Round 1, pick 1, NFC West draft. I'm taking running back Christian McCaffrey from the San Francisco 49ers.
What I expected.
So when we do these drafts, we are going like ranking them for the upcoming season, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've been a little bit biased, and I've been giving some guys some credit for what they've done in the past. So
Yeah, it's like, who are the best players right now
sure.
on the
It
NFC
makes
West?
sense why you guys were kind of, when I was trying to roast you about letting me get Myles Garrett over TJ Watt, but like obviously what TJ Watt proved the last couple of years, like he might have moved himself up ahead of that. So I don't know. I guess that's where I was coming from, but I still like my picks from the past. But going off of that, I guess because that was my thought process on this one is I'm gonna go with defensive end from the San Francisco 49ers, Nick Bosa.
I mean,
Reigning
obviously you're reigning
defensive player of the year.
Yeah, makes sense.
Both really solid picks. I'm going to go. This one's hard here. Wide receiver, Deebo Samuel.
That is not the wide receiver I'd pick out of this group, but
We'll prove you wrong
it's
this year.
it's a little high for Deebo for me there, Chief. I would actually take multiple wide receivers over Deebo in this division.
There is a couple guys I would take over him, yeah. Well, it's okay because
for you guys lost all the other drafts.
No, that's not true.
Literally every single one. Christian won his.
That is not hers. I did. Actually, I think David took me money at the most comments on it. So,
And then I won like the first three.
No. You're allowed to have an opinion. It's allowed to be wrong. That's your favorite thing.
Let's see. And then go wide receiver.
That was the wide receiver I was going to take.
I would take Cooper Kupp over him. I'm going to still take my second pick in this draft. I'm going to be taking defensive lineman from the Los Angeles Rams, Aaron Donald.
Yeah, see, I did not think he was going to fall to me. I was holding my breath.
Well, that's where I was going in the first round. I easily would have taken him in the first round. Well, if we're looking at like next season, that's why I asked that too, because I just feel like Nick Bosa will probably have a little bit better of a season.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't really want to take two 49ers, but I guess I'm going to. Round 2, I'm going to pick tight end George Kittle from the San Francisco 49ers. I think that's pretty good in my book. I don't think is any Arizona Cardinal going to go in this draft.
Could easily. One of them could, but are we going to do it?
His turn again, so let's find out.
I'm going to say no.
I wasn't planning on taking a Cardinal.
I'm not either.
I do kind of want to go defender. I'm really back and forth on two different picks. But I guess for the sake of offense is more popular, I'm going to take wide receiver DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks.
See, I honestly would take DK over Debo. That's who else I was thinking.
I just think that with the talent that's around Debo, it spreads the offense more because DK Metcalf is more of a jump ball guy, where Debo with the speed.
That's also where I look at it as I like the guy at quarterback for the Seahawks more than the guy at Brock Purdy. And there's less weapons on that offense coming into the season here, where I think DK gets more opportunities to put up way bigger numbers than what Debo could.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just you might be completely right on talent wise. Like Debo's probably better, but I just think the better season out of the two of those guys.
Yeah,
or three of those
the
guys.
way I look at this draft is raw talent. No, I think that Debo is still more talented than DK Metcalf. That's no hate on DK.
No, not at all. I don't think so. Talking about three pretty elite wide receivers.
Absolutely.
So I guess for my final pick in the NFC West draft, I will be going with all defensive players. I'm going to take linebacker from the San Francisco 49ers, Fred Warner.
Yep, that's honestly who I thought about as well when I said I'll go with like because offense is more popular. And I also didn't really want 3 49ers either. But
well, if you got 3 defensive players from the best defense in the league.
This last pick for me is a little difficult. I don't know whether I want to take a defense or offensive player. But I'm going to go with offensive tackle, Trent Williams.
Who is in my opinion, the best left tackle in the whole NFL. So
possibly the best offensive lineman.
Yeah, you could just make it offensive lineman, yeah, for sure.
So I don't think he's like top 9, but I'm a really big fan of Hufanga.
No. Did anybody take George Kittle?
I did.
He did.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Okay. So you had CMC and George Kittle?
CMC, George Kittle, and DK Metcalf. Yeah. I was really also debating Tariq Woolen. He had obviously a monster year last season.
I wouldn't say that he's top 9 in this division yet.
I don't think so either.
I mean, it's with the 49ers in the division, it's pretty damn stacked. I like Hufanga, safety from.
Yeah.
I don't think he's top 9 either, but
No.
I like him as a player in general.
I put Buda Baker and Kenneth Walker on my list.
Like I said, with the
What about
Cardinals
Dre Greenlaw?
I did not.
Specifically with the Cardinals, like I was saying earlier, there's definitely bright spots on their team and this division. There's definitely bright spots throughout the division, but I think that position player-wise, it's probably one of the most shallow when it comes to talent. Obviously, there's people like Kittle that are far and above almost every other person in their position. And obviously, again, Trent Williams is arguably the best offensive tackle in the entire NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty successful draft for all of us.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, I don't got anything else, boys. What do you got? Anything?
Cardinals are gonna suck.
Yep, 0-17 season incoming. Calling it now.
Not really that hot of a take.
Congratulations, Caleb Williams. You're a Cardinal.
Yep. See you next season, bud.
Anything in
It's
the
not place to
anything in
call
the
people
chat
bud.
No.
before we? There was a comment earlier that Braden made that we didn't touch on. Do you guys think Jamal is going to stay healthy, or Quande or Julian are going to have to step up this season?
I don't know. I did
I love
kind of.
Jamal Adams.
I don't think
Sam.
he's as good as. I mean,
Once was,
yeah, like
course.
he hasn't performed ever since he got traded. Honestly, I mean, injuries have something to do with it as well, but just not it for me, Chief.
Still a fantastic linebacker in Madden.
Linebacker.
You and your cheesy ass putting fast safeties at
I'm telling you.
linebacker.
They allow me to do it in a league.
No, dude.
You
That's...
put fucking Jamal Adams.
Yeah, put Jamal Williams at linebacker,
Linebacker.
bro. Go ahead.
Isaiah Simmons or Derwin James at linebacker. Holy shit!
See if they ever
Those user lurkers are godly.
if they fix like the ability to run the ball, that's where you can be effective when you have those small linebackers in there.
Oh,
Devin Bush is like same size as
Yeah, and he'll still probably get wrecked. Pause.
Patrick Queen.
Patrick Queen's good.
Not very big.
Pause. All right. Well, I think that's it for us. As long as anybody else has anything,
I think that's all. NFC West
is over.
That's a wrap.
Next week we are talking NFC South, which could be the worst division in football. I mean, honestly, the next two divisions might be the worst in
AFC
football.
South after that, and then guess what? Season's almost here, boys.
Yep.
Football's back.
It is.
Technically,
The
yeah, the
Jets
Hall
lost
of
this
Fame.
week.
And then the Hall.
21-16. I'm not mad about it.
It is what it is.
Should be. They choked it away.
In a game that doesn't matter.
It is a huge moment.
Yeah.
You also noticed your lights went out during the game?
Yeah, I saw that.
Wait, were they in Ohio?
Yeah, Canton.
Oh, they were. Oh, so it wasn't your lights.
Not our lights,
Yeah.
but the lights went out.
Yeah.
The lights. No. But yeah, football's back. So we got 2 weeks of this NFL offseason nonsense that we talk about. No, I'm just playing. It's not nonsense. It's
Our
a joke.
off-season breakdown.
Yeah. But and then after that we're gonna do fantasy football episodes. So just as we talked about earlier, if you're interested in our fantasy football league, just go ahead and reach out. You have to be a dedicated fan though, okay? And dedicated to fantasy football, because there will be a buy-in. And then other than that, we'll talk about week 1, and then boom, we got game commentaries, podcasts. We're going to be very busy this NFL season, but I'm excited.
Basketball is not too far away either.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, we got a lot of shit going on.
And we're going to be doubly busy during basketball season. So
Doubly busy. I said,
Baseball's still going on.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was over.
Nope.
Oh wait, 162 games.
Yep. Unless, did you know this? If there's a tie for first place in a division, they play a 163rd game.
The Diamondbacks did a couple years ago.
So did the Brewers and Cubs a couple years ago, and we beat you guys.
When's last time you guys won a championship?
Never. Unless you count the Milwaukee Braves.
Nope.
Doesn't count.
It was in Milwaukee. I don't know why
Okay,
that
but-
doesn't count.
Your thing
Okay.
says Brewers.
But the Braves,
People change names all the time.
no,
Not
because
the same team.
Milwaukee.
They moved.
So it counts as
Milwaukee.
the Braves. It counts as the Braves
Yeah.
wins.
Not.
I
Milwaukee.
understand. That's why I asked.
No, counts as
I'm
the
the
Braves.
Brewers fan. I understand.
No,
We
counts as
still
the Braves.
retired Hammer
If
and
you-
Hank's number.
If you understood, you wouldn't have asked.
And next week we will talk about the NFC South. On behalf of the Fortune Sports crew, take care of yourselves. It's your destiny.
Stay safe.
Toodles.
This is Smooches. Peace.
I'm just way too hot now, way too hot. Pull up with the top down, the top down. You know I can't be around, can't be around.